Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tulane's 2000 Football Media Day. We're certainly glad you're here. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping notes I want to go over with members of the media. Obviously, our staff stands ready to help you guys out, so as we have been in the past, if you guys need anything concerning interviews, practice times, game information, please let us know. I was hoping to have the parking passes today, but they're still getting printed from what I understand. So I will get those to you as you come out and cover us, at least before the first game. Our weekly press conferences will remain on Tuesdays. They will start on Tuesday, September 1st at noon, and they will take place right below us in the NPR room. Monday is once again our off day. There will be no interviews on Monday. We've sent out credential requests to each of your outlets. If you guys haven't already, please get those back to me because our first game is on Thursday night, September 3rd against Duke at 8:30 here in Yeoman Stadium, so please make sure you get everything to me. And as usual, we have a limited number of parking spots, so make sure you put those down as well. If you have any questions, please let me know. We'll have Coach CJ here in just a second, but then we'll have players available at about 12:45 for one-on-ones. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our head coach in his fourth year, Curtis CJ Johnson.
Thank you guys so much. My voice is always bad, but it's the fourth or the fifth, sixth, whatever, two a day, and it's gone. So if you guys need to meet with any of the coaches, you want to talk to them, I think they'll love to talk to you. But EP and Lionel will introduce the guys if you need, if you need further, because I'm not going to introduce them because I'm dead. And this, I would say this, it's the first year my wife, she had a death in the family. Everybody will see her around, but she's out in California. She's on her way back now. There's been a lot of that in my family the last couple months. So, thank you for your thoughts and prayers. I've been seeing a lot of it on the internet. Most of all, thank you guys for coming. I know the Saints are doing well, and they're in much cooler weather, and so is LSU. They're probably in their indoor. But I'm just going to say one thing. It was hot this morning. This was the hottest. Maybe one other day we were at Newman, and last year it was hot, but this one was unbearable. My voice is gone this year because probably more so yelling great encouragements to the team because our team looks so much better. First of all, the quarterback's playing very, very well. He's starting to understand, starting to do the things we asked him to do. Tanner, he's doing well, and I just hope it continues. Devin's also playing well, and Glenn, I thought this last couple of practices, Glenn really is getting a good grasp of what we're doing offensively. I think our offensive line will be good. They're big guys. They're physical. They've been around the most. But I'm very, very pleased with Shinley and Chris Taylor having a whale of a camp. Arturo's doing great also, and all those guys are playing well. Leeward Brown is a guy was an eye-opener, and Colton Hansen's playing well also. Jaquette and Santa Maria are a pleasant surprise along with LeGlue. So most of those guys, we got about 6 or 7 guys in that offensive line, and then another 2 or 3 that you're really, really encouraged about. I would say Leeward as a freshman is definitely ahead of the game. Skill positions are, last year we basically had all freshmen. Tight ends are really good. Trey Scott's running around real well. So is Charles Jones, doing a magnificent job. Those guys are running, blocking, and doing what they ask. The receivers are good. I think Veal, Uncle Bro, just improved so much. Little Larry Date's starting to play well too, so he's coming along. But I would say the freshmen, Preston and Hicks, are really impressive. Hicks was a quarterback in high school, and I'm telling you, I never knew how well this kid could develop so quick. He's big, he's physical. He reminded me of some of those guys I had at Miami. Carter Sheridan's doing a phenomenal job, and my son Trey with those young guys, just bringing them along. And sometimes I look up, it's just, they look like veterans, So it's good. Probably the strength of our deal, what we do is these running backs. I'm telling you, Cedric is a grown man. He's continuing to improve. I didn't think he could be much bigger or better. He's doing well. Dontrell and Sherman's, they're awesome. Joshua Rounds come back, and it's pleasing to see Robert Kelly, experience and knowledge back in the backfield. We got this little kid from Warren Easton. His name is Jet. I don't want you to write anything but Jet. And once you see him play, you're going to know why. It's Devin Glenn, but he's another really, really exciting young player to watch. On the defensive side, the defensive line with Tanzel and Royce and and Sean Wilson and all those guys are back and they good. Marley and Jared Franklin are doing outstanding along with Eric Thomas and Monroe and Perry Nickerson and Richard Allen. I think they're doing a yeoman's job. They're playing well. So the defense is probably a little bit ahead. They showed it today, but I think this is the first year where it goes. I thought the last 2 days offense we kind of beat them a little bit, and today the defense came back. Special teams, I think I'm very confident in the punter. And the kicker, we have about a 3-man race, maybe a 4-man race between Sims, Duraco, and a young freshman from Florida. And that rounds it out. The staff really hadn't changed much. You know, the only thing that's changed around here is the heat. It's just hotter. So we're going to do some things a little bit different in the next couple of days to ease the heat. Any questions? Yes, sir, every day.
CJ, who's 2 or 3 guys, maybe leapfrog in the depth chart, kind of contribute, maybe spring of what Lewis will, the guys who really
You know, I would say this. If you look at the receiver position, Veal and Alcalade, they begin to look like veterans in camp. Bro, it's really had a really good camp. You know, I look at Donnie Lewis. Is one of the guys that we moved him around and as a free safety, he's really playing well. You know, the 2 freshmen, the corners, Shy and Chanel, are guys every day they're making plays. So this depth on his back end is what we're gonna need. And I'm watching those guys just so much. Jaquette is another guy that you say he's playing very well.
What's a reasonable expectation?
Well, you know what? I don't know if it's reasonable or not, but I'd be very disappointed if we don't get to a bowl game this year. And it's a tough schedule, I know, and I'm speaking probably a little bit ahead of schedule. But if you look at what we got, the athleticism, you know, it's just that we got to cut down on these mistakes and just cut down on, you know, doing silly things and making silly penalties and stuff like that, and understanding the game plan and doing the things that we want to. I feel we could definitely get to a bowl game.
You feel like there was an adjustment period going into the American last year, and
Well, you know what? I don't know if it's overcome quite yet. I just know that it was, you know, we really felt good about Conference USA playing in it and competing in it. And then you get to the American, you know, teams. I mean, you look at what Cincinnati had last year. They were just so much bigger than us. And, you know, Memphis was just played together as a team. You know, you look at last year, everybody thought Memphis would be last, and they ended up winning the thing. And East Carolina was better. And, you know, all those teams with Central Florida, you know what they're capable of doing. Houston's going to be better. So you know, there'll be some good teams, but I think we can accelerate this thing a little bit, and I think we could beat some teams. And you know, Navy's going to be outstanding, and so if we could do those things, I think we'll definitely. You know, I would be surprised if we don't. We'll make a bunch of mistakes if we don't. I just like our athleticism.
CJ, how much will Tannelly's maturation make the offense any different than that?
Well, last year we really didn't do much. You know, everybody. You know, it was more my fault. I think you guys should take the shot at me than take it at EP and the offensive staff, because I wasn't letting them do much. You know, we were turning the ball over too much, and you know, some of it was Tanner's fault and some of it wasn't his fault. And it was just the idea that, you know, some of the kids that he was playing with, they were freshmen too, and they, you know, like I tell everybody, they didn't know what a library was, and all of a sudden they starting in games and playing on national television. And now this year, I think things have calmed down a lot more in the game. Has slowed down for those guys. So if we can continue to grow and, you know, finish this camp off good and get ready, we'll beat some people.
CJ, with second year, this beautiful stadium here on campus, what's your message to the fans that maybe didn't make their way out here last year to really show the full support of the season?
Look, you got to come see this place. You know, one thing about the Glacier Club is air conditioned. So if everybody worrying about the heat, you know, we have air in the stadium. You know, and then you look at the field, it's nice, it's quaint. And look, I know some games were empty, but it's real loud. And it's like, almost like, you know, a college atmosphere. It is a college atmosphere. The fans are right up on top of you. The tailgating is awesome. You know, you see the people, everybody's excited about it. You know, we just got to play better, and I think we will, but you know, the atmosphere is great. It's great. You know, that's what we're doing. We're doing more and more and more of it every day. You know, you asked me about a year ago, blitz pickup. I don't think none of the guys understood what blitz pickup was. They were just playing football. You know, they didn't even know the periods that we were having practice in. They just thought we were going out there and running a bunch of plays. Now they understand. They got a conscious, concerted effort. I think the offensive line is doing outstanding with the line calls. And Tanner, the one thing about Tanner, what he couldn't do last year, that he's doing now, he's ID'ing the blitz, and he's doing a much better job ID'ing what's going on. He's hitting the backs more. He's hitting the check downs more. He's telling the backs, step up and block that guy to take the edge off. So he's doing some things that a starting quarterback should do. And a year ago, you know, he didn't do it and he couldn't do it. Yes, sir. You know what, definitely. They practicing older, and if they continue to practice and play like they're practicing, you know, you look what Teddy Veal's doing and Uncle Lod and Charles Jones and all those guys, Trey Scott, you know, I just Dontrell Hilliard, he's another kid that, you know, just playing. They understanding just the game so much. I can actually, and I'm not good with young people. All my kids are gone, but I can actually have a conversation about football with these young guys. So it's a pleasant surprise just to be able to talk football with them, and they're not talking about the little game that they play on their computers.
Hey, you mentioned a player that reminds you of a player you had in Miami, that kind of style player, physically. How many guys that you think are like that and that you're recruiting for you?
You know what? I think the landscape is changing. What we're doing, the offensive line is bigger and better. You know, speed-wise with these backs, you know, they're similar to what Portis was. You know, the tight end is Charles reminds me of Bubba Frank. We always do a thing in our scout department. Who reminds you of who? You got to tell me who reminds you of a particular player. If you look at our reports, that these guys hate. I'm making them write reports, but they hate it. But it's really working out for us, you know. And that's what you know. Those guys are. Hilliard and Sherman remind me of Portis. LeCedric is Najee. You know, we don't have Andre Johnson. Uncle Lod is Reggie Wayne. In my mind, how I see those guys. And so when Reggie and Santana and those guys, Veal is like Santana. When those guys were young guys, you know, we took our share of lumps. You know, we went 5-6 our first year at the U. And then 3 years later, you know, we went on a streak that we didn't lose for several years. And I'm not saying this team will do that, but this team definitely, you know, we recruit to what I know and to what we know. Eric was at Miami, Speedy was in the NFL, and that's the kind of kids we recruit to. And so that's kind of the team that we are kind of emulating somewhat. Yes?
You know, if the line was taking shape, most of your depth chart, too deep, or within 50 miles. And if you look forward, we can't talk about it, the recruiting class for next year, 3/4 of that is within a 50-mile radius of that. I mean, you've really concentrated on this over time.
Yeah, because I believe in these coaches. I believe in Louisiana high school football. I believe in the coaches. I believe in what those guys are doing. I think they coach outstanding, and I can mention so many of them. You know, my life has changed because of the coaching down here. Because when I would come down here and get players like Ed Reed and Marshall Faulk and Reggie Wayne and take them other places, and I just want to concentrate on these guys staying home. As many as they can stay here. I think we got the most players on our roster from the state of Louisiana in this area. You know, the River Parish being Speedy. I'm just telling you guys, go get some of that water, because it's the water with the River Parish people. You know, all of us, you know, we come out of there and, you know, we get as many as we can from those places. And the one thing I know the coaches and I trust them. I trust what they're telling me. We don't have very many players that, you know, leave the program because of the outstanding job these high school coaches are doing. Yes, sir. You know, and I think they could be an outstanding defense. I like what Speedy's doing. Jason's, you know, doing some stuff too. We're doing a couple things a little bit different than we've done in the past. I think we feel that we can match a little bit more physicality. You know, we could limit some of the stuff, but be a little bit complicated in other areas. Some of these things that we're doing, I'm really liking it. Now, corners, you know, the corner play line, they'll tell you right now, the one thing about the NFL, when he was at Oakland and Green Bay, you know, they had corners. He had Charles Rogers and all those guys. You know, the corners were so good. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to go out and get these good, big, physical corners.
Is it frustrating at all to know this is your fourth season, but you're still, when you look at that 2D, you're still pretty young?
No.
Does that mean that you're coming
No, not really. You know, you look at your first year, we came here, when we got here, you know, I was trying to get a game staff together. I was trying to win a playoff game with the Saints, and we didn't, you know, we got some players, you know, like Monroe and those guys, but then the next year, I thought we were better recruiting, but we hadn't had, you know, no one knew us, no one seen us. In that third year, when we went to the bowl game, I thought we picked it up, and then the next year got better. Even this past season, I thought this was even a better recruiting class than the last year, and what we're doing thus far is even better than that. So, you know, I think you got to understand where you are, the state of where you've been, the program. You know, 2 years when I took the job, we didn't even have this. You know, so now we're moving in a direction. We can bring kids in here. We can bring kids on campus. You know, it's just so much better. And I think in the future we'll get better and better recruits.
I think there were 6 or 7 Tulane guys in NFL games. As of right now, a lot of those guys have coached. How much does that help sell this program? Because that was not the case.
A lot, because what happens is, you know, we got NFL coaches, guys with experience. Dave Johnson just came back from the Giants. Aaron Price went to Detroit with Joe Lombardi. Carter Sheridan, he just got back out of the NFL. You know, all those guys went to Seattle. Quan Drake was in Seattle. And because of our relationships with NFL guys, those kids are coming back and telling them, our practice is just like the NFL. We prepare just like the NFL. You look at what Sullen did last night. You know, if it wasn't for Lionel and Jason, some of the stuff that he wouldn't even be playing for Pittsburgh. And he should have had a pick last night. I'd make him do push-ups if I was the coach.
How tough when you go against 2 ACC teams and play, you go against Georgia Tech, just destroy this. I think they're quarterbacks.
Yes, he is.
How is that on getting ready for that?
You know, it's always tough what you get ready for, but you got to play somebody. And you know, I'm a firm believer of, you know, you got to play those games, and you got to play against these other conferences, and you got to win those games. You know, so we got to go into it. We got to win it. You know, we think we're going to match up good with both teams. You know, Georgia Tech and these option teams are a little bit different. They're a little bit, you know, we're doing stuff every day for the option. We playing E3 option teams, but Georgia Tech been in bowl games forever. A year ago, Duke played Florida State for the ACC championship. So that's the caliber of teams. We got it one day. We're going to wake up and we're going to beat these teams, and then, you know, everybody going to say, okay, Tulane has arrived. But this is the groundwork for it right now, and I think you got to play those teams. But it's just like anything else. It's 11 on 11, and you got to win some of those. Excited, guys. Thanks a million.